What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hollywood Already Did It, your movie podcast for reboots, remakes, sequels, adaptations, and IPs and stories that we keep bringing back time and time again. As always, I'm your host, Blake Schultz, and with me is Terrence Tatum.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we are talking about the fifth release of the Toy Story franchise, a franchise that it seems to have. Is this maybe the first franchise we've done that kind of universally has it should have ended here at 3? I can't think of another.
I think everyone
property.
agrees that everyone feels that was a significant
That
point.
was such a good ending. Because I feel that way about Return of the Jedi or Return of the King or Back to the Future even. But I feel like everyone else was like, oh, well, I kept going. Who cares?
Right.
But almost everyone you talk to is like, but this part 3 ending is so good. And I don't see that with Kung Fu Pandas or How to Train Your Dragons or Shreks or anything else. This is kind of the only one.
This is the one that everybody has quintessentially as this is the end. We were done here.
Everyone wants more Incredibles and more cars and more.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's like, keep making Toy Stories. I don't care if the ending was perfect. That's why you make other ones.
Make them differently perfect. Yeah.
And I think it is funny because 4 definitely proved maybe that's where we should have ended. And I liked 4, but I
like 4 too.
Sentiment. I think this one, and we'll get really into it, definitely proved that there's way more to do here.
Yeah, and I it's funny with 4. I think a lot of people, because 3 had such a finite ending and everybody was bawling at the end of that and felt a way about it, that they didn't even give 4 a chance. And 4 is good, but people don't care how good 4 is because they're like, nope, it ended there, so I don't even care what this did. It could have been Godfather 2, and no one would have cared because it wasn't Toy Story 3, and we're done with this.
Yeah, because it's funny. I'm seeing some, as the internet often does, spin around. I'm seeing a little bit of the 4 is higher on my list.
I'm seeing rankings a lot that have 4 at the top, either right the first one or the second one on a lot of people's rankings list, which is incredible.
Strange.
Now I've seen some of those lists that didn't have 3 before 4, which is insane.
No, I do think, as much as I do like 4, it is to be still at the bottom. It is still and I'm sure that a lot of those people are younger, because I think I'm confident that if you didn't grow up with 1 and 2, going back to 1,
they don't hit as well.
That animation is hard to watch.
It is hard. I tried watching 1 and 2 with my kid. For him, he's like, okay, cool, but he's also seen GOAT or new stuff, and he's like, well, this dad. It's like me watching black and white when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I get it. And it is harder to put those up on the pedestal, sort of being at the time that they were out. They were groundbreaking, they trigger something different in our brains than they do for a kid who'd be like, I like Buzz, but can we see him in the new one? Because Toy Story 4 looks beautiful. Even if how you feel about those rain sequences they have, that's a gorgeous shot and animated movie. But yeah, you put that against Toy Story 1, you're like, wait a minute.
But I do think the entire fandom can agree that it's better that we forgot about Lightyear, because I don't even see that on rankings.
That movie is on no one's list. They 5 movies. We don't talk about that one.
I kind of forgot about it until I saw somebody else make a video about it and said the same points that everyone has said about it. But I was just kind of like, oh yeah.
That was a thing.
This was a thing we did that undid continuity and wasn't as good as a 2000s animated series.
Yeah.
And was maybe the most confusing premise of a movie ever conceived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quite possibly the most okay, stay with me. You know the Toy Story. Great.
But
Andy, the son in Toy Story, he saw a movie that made
went to see a movie.
Buzz Lightyear. That is this movie.
You're like, wait,
watching a movie from the 90s.
Wait, what?
But not our 90s, what? Their 90s.
Their 90s. Which was a lot more progressive, apparently, than our 90s, because the stuff that was happening in that movie was
way radical. Kurt Cobain is alive and well. Eminem has a loving mom. It's all a very different world. Michael Jordan got drafted 2nd, and he's not on the Bulls. It's
insane.
Place.
It's all madness.
A whole different world. But no, let's get into this movie. So how did you like it? How did you feel?
Yeah, took the
kid like it? Fuck what you think.
My kid has always been very much like I need to sit like halfway during the movie. He'll like I need to sit in your lap or I need to sit in either it's not getting his attention or there's something that's super scary. This was the first movie that he was just like I don't need either of you. I'm in this. Like I'm watching this from beginning to end. He's like I like this movie a lot. And so that was half the battle for me. He really enjoyed this movie. Um
I didn't know that I could abandon people and friends, Dad. This is great to know. This is
And obviously, it doesn't hit him the same way that it hits the adults. Like, there's a lot of things that just don't. That's what these Toy Story films always have done. But it was cool to sort of see him and like watch him, see some of his reactions, just like turn and be like, oh, he's getting the jokes now. He's starting. He's 5 on going
right.
on 6, so he's starting to get the jokes now. He's starting to kind of understand some things. And the cutest thing when it was all over said and done he's like, "Hey, look, Daddy, they all want to be her friend now." And so when Bonnie and Blaze were playing outside, the other friends, oh, they are her friends now. I'm like, oh, so you did follow this all along and you got to the gist of it, which was like, oh, Disney, Pixar, you did your job. For me as an adult, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I also felt like it was taking me and slapping me on the hand quite a few times. Like, hey, you know that purple tablet you keep giving your kid? Stop it. You are effing this kid up. And I'm like, oh God. And we very much have a like no TV policy, but there's sometimes when you're just kind of like, hey, I daddy's got to cook, mom's got to cook, we got to do something. Here's a tablet. That's the first thing that we sort of go to. And this was very much a love letter to all of that. Like, hey, there's a rhyme or reason, because I do think that when we get to see Blaze, she's sort of the perfect hybrid of that. But there is a rhyme or reason, like, hey, you need to have cutoff times. You need to still want to have your kids have an imagination. So I watched this movie and was smiling from ear to ear, like, oh, they're sort of saying, like, hey, parents, do better. Just do it better. And there's some scenes where sometimes they're hitting you over the head with, and there's some that are very subtle. I'll bring it up in a minute that I was like, that is disturbingly uncomfortable how easy it is for them to get from one place to another, going through a house, but no one is paying attention to them. They don't
It
have to
is
fall or drop at all because everybody's plugged in.
it is kind of an awesome idea of just like, oh, we used to always have to have this like drop, get up, and now they're like, yeah, whatever, no one's paying
We
any
can just
attention.
walk
It's
through. No one's paying
fine.
attention to us.
It did, which also then kind of made me wonder, like, at what point in this universe will the toys run the world? Because eventually, like,
They're just going to be
if
zapped in, and
yeah,
like they'll have their digital friends be like, "Hey,
right,
just keep them
like yeah,
occupied for a minute."
like if like what I want is a Matrix meets Toy Story, where in the real world their humans are power sources, and on the
And
surface
the
the toys are just
toys
like
just run
we have
everything. We got
everything.
everything. Yeah, we got them locked in here. The
Yeah,
digital friend toys got them
yep,
locked away. We can do whatever we want to. We run
yeah,
the
we
world now.
don't care anymore. Yeah, I
Yeah,
yeah, that would be. I had that thought where I was like, it would be weird if like humans went extinct in this world and the toys were just
just
like, now what
took
do we
over.
do?
Yeah.
Because
Um,
all of them sort of deal with like growing up in a way or like
hmm
replacement. Like the first Toy Story is very much like Woody is the antique toy, and now we
correct.
kind of have the new tech, the fancy thing. People are changing, getting over it.
Yeah, Buzz is the
And then
newer toy. Yeah,
two is sort of the bigger version of that of like, well, eventually everybody grows up. You might as well be stuck here forever and preserved.
yes.
And then three is the ending of that, where it is time to move on. Uh, this is kind of the first time I felt like we had way more of the child's agency than we ever really did with Andy. That there's a
We
lot
never
more of
really
like Bonnie
spent
and her
that much time
parents.
with the kid as much as we did here. Like Bonnie was the lead of this movie.
Yeah,
Even more, it's like this is Jesse and Bonnie's movie. Woody and Buzz are kind of side characters. Woody way more even than Buzz, because at least Buzz does have sort of a tie-in to Jesse. Woody's just there because they're like, we can't write Woody off. That's the only
it
reason
did.
Woody is here.
It did feel that way, which I do like Woody so much that it did kind of bum me out. But I also wasn't. I wasn't that annoyed because everything else was so good. But every now and
And I
then was
think
like, I want to see some
because
more
his story
Woody
was
stuff.
so perfect and foreign the way that it ended, this is probably my one knock on this film, because I think it's a perfect Jesse story. But if I'm looking at it, I was like, I feel like the things that take away when it's not Jesse or Bonnie actually hurt the movie. And I think when we spend time on Woody and Buzz, we're kind of like, oh, we're revisiting some of the greatest hits of what they used to do in the past. But the meat and potatoes are when this movie's really at its best is when it's focusing on Jesse and Jesse Blaze and Lily
And Bonnie. And
and
Bonnie,
Bonnie.
yeah.
Even the opening, the cold opening of all the futuristic buzzes, pacing wise, it's just odd to go from that and then like cut in with those sequences that kept happening throughout the movie. I'm like, I get why they're here because you need them to the payoff in the end. There's just got to be a different way to sort of put them in,
It
splice them into the
it
movie.
also just kept feeling very post-apocalyptic whenever
It
we get to them.
did.
Like they're on an island by themselves and on this boat and on this and I really did like it. I did think we were going to do more with them with the evolution of like, oh, the time of toys isn't over, but there is going to be this like merger.
Where
Um,
there's a like
but to be fair, though, the whole opening of this movie is like feels like a horror movie because
it
not only do
does.
we start like that, we then have like the like fun, which I love that we changed the animation for like pretend make believe
Her Chin
time.
World is great. Yeah.
That was so fun. And then she immediately doesn't want to like talk to the kids, goes into the parents' room and is like, why does nobody want to be my friend? Jesse then goes over to the house and we get this like horror
Look,
movie
and then all those
of
kids
all
come out the
these
ground like
toys.
they're taking over, and then you just
It's
like hear
so
tap tap tap, and she just and the buddy just
he goes into the
disappears into
bush
the bush.
like Homer. That was so good. And then her getting up and seeing it. And it is funny because I'm sure if you're the right age, it does feel like we're now like the old people shaking our fist at a cloud.
Right.
Um, it is also very odd, I think. And I do go back and forth on this because, like, almost whenever people are like the tablets and the iPads and all this, I'm like, I don't know. I had a Game Boy everywhere I went, and like, I
Hmm.
remember when this conversation was about video games. And my parents remember
Correct.
when it was about Walkman, and this is a different level, and it's
Mm.
a lot bigger. But even just that shot of all the different, only glow in each house being the screen
Yeah,
was like haunting.
it
And
was.
I don't know how accurate that is for the real world, but for this story, you are just like, oh
Oh my
God.
God.
And
And
I
then
think
you
you feel
add
worse
on
because it's the toys' lives. Like you feel
correct.
worse
It's so big
because
because it's them.
it's
Yeah.
less about like the real world analogy and more just like, oh, poor Jesse. Oh my God. Because
And I
they're
also
gonna
like that
beat technology.
they didn't because they are toys and they don't understand the difference or what the purposes are. Even when the dad is on his Zoom calls, they're like, he's on the screen, like he's taken
He's
away,
gonna
like
be switching those backgrounds
switching
for
those
hours.
backgrounds for yeah.
Yeah, I thought all of that was good. I did really like then when we introduced Lily, I thought they did a good job of not making it like tech bad, tech knows it's bad. Like the other
Yeah,
villains we've had in this
they
franchise
didn't go
are
full
like
Lotso
straight up
because
evil.
Lotso
Like,
is psychopathic,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Lotso, not Pistol Pete, but Pete,
Gabby, the girl from four,
Gabby.
Gabby with the two, yeah, like they're just
Even
straight up
Sid isn't
villains.
that bad when you're
It's
just like,
not like, and
he's just
yeah,
abused.
yeah, he's
he's
just abusive
he
to toys.
he's just
He's not a
evil. Like, yeah,
villain. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
he's more of a foil than like a villain
Correct.
that
And
I'm
that's
sure
kind of how
now is in.
Lily is. Like they don't fully lean into they sort of because it's coming from their viewpoint, Lily's the villain, Lily's the bad person. And Lily sees them as the bad person, but Lily all she wants is to honestly, I want to give Bonnie friends. And I feel like I'm better equipped to getting Bonnie friends than you are. So I'm going to use my
This is how the
tech to
world works
correct. This
now.
is how things work now. And it's great that like she doesn't fully lean into being a villain because everything she does has a recoverable means to go. Like she doesn't go too far over the edge and sort of
No.
getting. She's just like I'm getting you out the way so I can take care of Bonnie. But the moment that she sees that what she's doing is not benefiting Bonnie or helping Bonnie, she immediately is like, oh crap, I'm the bad guy. It just sort of goes into like self-destruct mode. Like I'm gonna
Oh,
just exit
she
myself out of
tries
this.
to kill herself.
She
Like
does.
this movie has so many like weird, like horrifying, sad moments. And moments that are also like, oh, I didn't think about the repercussions of like an iPad coming to life. Like when she texts Bonnie's dad.
That was so, I was like, this just became like Black Mirror. Like, what? That is
This is now a
terrifying.
Skynet situation, and we should all
Exactly.
be terrified. Like we are no longer watching like a Toy Story movie. We are now watching something that
These
is like
become
I can
sentient
connect
beings.
everybody.
Like
I
I
can
will
do
email
whatever I
them
want.
across the way. I got it. When we send photos to
Like
everybody, I got you. Like we'll
it
do this.
it was almost also the same way when the Buzz Lightyears drop instinctively, and I was like, oh, this is kind of the first time where we've seen it be they
That is just
just
in
do
it.
that.
It's
Yeah,
it's like
a reflex.
a reflex to them. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they don't even have to
which
learn it.
means
They just know like this is just ingrained in their DNA.
like in Toy Story 1 they had to like make an active choice to like come to life and haunt Sid. It is also interesting to me that all the buzzes seem to go through the same like are we toys? Like that wasn't like a defect.
Yeah,
We have to do
right.
that.
If
And
that's the automatic, the safety recall is that's where they start off at is like we're toy, like we're real people, and then you
I
have to that's
I
we're
did
toy.
like the one that got left behind and like met a kid and was like, no, I'm good. I think
He's like,
this
no,
is
he
all
gives a
fine.
thumb up, like y'all do y'all thing. This
Yeah.
feels right. This feels,
That was a nice quick like a mini Toy Story movie. That was like
yeah.
a very fun little like again, like there's something instinctual that they understand
And
that
the
was like,
fact that they all
oh,
caught on to it, they all kind of just looked and
yeah,
was like, no, he's good. He's good here. He's no longer in harm. We're fine. Let's move on with our mission.
yeah, to get to Star Command and messing up what that is. And
Yeah.
yeah, I did like that the payoff for that was fun. I also liked, I will jump around a bit, but I liked that the payoff for them also led to a kind of full circle, this is flying with style. We got to kind of
Yes,
close
you got to
what
close that
was
loop with
the
the biggest
agency for
thing.
Buzz and like
Yes.
his mental breakdown in the first movie. I
Yes.
was sort of waiting for him to be like, well, this is
Like this
bullshit.
is some bull. Y'all can fly.
Yeah, I liked that. But yeah, we have these weird, sad moments like Lily Pad just be like, Jesse was right, I was wrong. I should
I
just
gotta I'm
jump
gonna off
headfirst into this
myself.
donation thing without my charger. Yeah, like the one failure, and you're just like,
Yeah. I'm done with
whoa.
life. I have done all that I'm supposed to do. I'm out.
Yeah, insane. Uh, Jesse's like mental breakdown when she's trying to push Bullseye. It's like, it's too late for me, Bullseye.
And then
They can save you. And you're just like, oh my God.
Jesse has about three mental breakdowns in this movie when she goes off on the Smarty Pants toy and just pushes him, and then immediately is like, "Oh crap!
Oop, too
I am
much.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've done too much. I'm just going to leave and jump out this
So
window and go go to the swing." It's
the
like, wait, what?
the smarty pants that so many people are focusing on like the like poop jokes that it makes, which makes sense. I think we need to be more focused on the fact that it is like drunk as a sailor when we first meet it, and then when he gets batteries, is like, I'm on cocaine. It
And I
is,
also that's Conan, so that makes it even
yeah,
funnier that's how he
yeah.
responds. Like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, and I liked that was another good. That character was great for Jesse, and it was such a small moment of her being like, "Yeah, I'm not giving your friends batteries," and him being like, "What? They're gonna sit in the dark forever?" And she's just like,
Just like
"Ah,
and she was like, "Oh crap, I don't want that for my toys. I can't have that for you." It's something that
yeah."
connected them and put them on that same level that made her feel like
And
I
we're in
can't.
the house where she was given away,
Yeah,
so yeah, she also has that like, uh,
yeah.
I also like that that kind of gave her that like, oh, look at all these tech. They also do care about their kid. She
Hmm.
still has some of that like techism though. Around she's like, you guys might care, but you're still very bad at it. You're
And then
playing with her
it's
incorrectly.
right, and it gives her sort of the onus to explain to them the difference between being a tech toy and getting played with or them having playtime. And like when they get to experience that playtime through Blaze's eyes, you could see that their minds like, wait a minute, that's what that feels like? You had that all the time? Bonnie did this with you? Oh hell, I want more of that. Like give me
Yeah.
more of that
Oh, you
immediately.
guys are your battery's gonna die, and she's never gonna touch you again. That is, there are now cameras in phones, and she can use the toilet.
Yeah. And she knows how to when that was a great response was seeing her come off the toilet.
Did
Because I was like, why do you have this kid coming off the toilet? I was like, oh, there's the payoff. Well done. Well
yeah,
done.
that was good. Yeah, all of that stuff was good. Then like hacking it and communicating with it again, though, very alarming that now in this world we
That they can
can
just talk to
just
each other across miles away from each other. Yeah, that
yeah.
is frightening. I will say
I
that,
want to
like
see. I want to cut to like 10 years later where like an iPad or a lily pad is like mad at its owner and tweets something and then gets them
Something
canceled.
offensive that gets them kids.
It was Roseanne's lily pad that did that, not her.
It wasn't her.
She would never.
Um, I will say there are two really there's actually a bunch of them. Two of them made me tear up and cry, but there's a lot of sentimental moments in this too. I think
Too
one of my
many, too
favorite
many.
that tree sequence with Jesse finding the tree that said Jesse was here, and then it
Oh,
dawning on her that it wasn't her as Jesse, is that her Emily that was her owner before cared enough about Jesse and remembered Jesse enough that she named her firstborn her kid Jesse.
were you hoping we would
Jeez,
meet Emily?
I was.
So
I
was
was,
I. I'm kind
but
of glad we didn't,
but I'm
but
like, I
I,
don't want this world to keep feeling as small as it sometimes does. So I'm like, I'm okay if we didn't see her, but just to get that photo and to get that moment, and you can see it's like, even though even though Bullseye can't talk, he kind of looks like, see, she did give a damn about you. You did
I,
mean something to her.
I like that Bullseye is like probably smarter than all of them because it feels like
Yeah,
he's just almost always like, guys,
guys, it's right there. Like,
it's hey, uh, yeah, all of that was really good. I did really like. We touched on it a bit, but I really liked that we had a full arc with the kids, the bullies, really,
yeah,
and Bonnie and her mom. And I was almost getting like frustrated right before the lily pad scene where the mom finally sees it because I just kept being like, just tell your mom,
just
mom, pick up the
just tell
device,
your mom,
figure
or
figure
mom,
this
just take
out.
the device and read what's on the screen because you can
Yeah, I
see that
was
your kid is different than she was a second ago. Look at
moments,
what's on the screen.
moments ago.
Right.
Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
was, oh, and I think that's probably kind of the point. Is
Yeah.
also a little bit of it is like, hey, we get that the screens aren't great, but also these
You should
parents also kind of need to step their
you
shit up
should
a
do a
little
little
bit.
parenting and make sure
Like if
you're monitoring what's happening on that screen.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
especially if like if your kid just walked into your house in the middle of the day and was like, why does nobody want to be my friend? I don't think you'd be like, we should go buy her an
Let's
iPad.
buy them an
Well,
iPad.
shut her up. At this dance
Yeah.
class with these, but I did like that. Then the mom was like, oh, you don't have to talk to these people.
Right. Like we can just remove this. This doesn't
Yeah,
need to be a
let's
part of your life,
not be in this chat.
which is great because that's a thing that my generation, your generation, we had. Like we weren't always attached to that. So it's important that a parent who is of the age that would be us tells us like this isn't doesn't have to be your life. Like we don't have to be
We
sucked
don't have to do
into
this.
chat. This have we can just remove this. Like this doesn't have to
Yeah,
be a part of this,
I
which
had
is a great
AOL Instant Messenger. We
response
block people all the time.
all the time. All the time. This you don't have to eat shit, leave, breathe this all the time. Bonnie, we
Yeah,
can remove this from you. And so yeah, it was a bit of like, oh, you need to do some parenting to kind of make sure that she's okay.
yeah,
Another thing that really this spoke to me a lot is that it's okay being the oddball or the weirdo or the corner
right.
person nerd. You just got to take the time. It's going to might take some time, but you got to take some time to find your other oddball. There are other people out there who are just as odd as
Yeah,
you. And when you find your people, you're in hog heaven. I think it clicks for Jesse immediately when she's like, oh no, Blaze is just like Bonnie.
yeah.
We need to get them together because
I
they're each
have to
other's
do
person.
this.
Right.
Yeah,
They're each other's person. And when they see each other, they'll be fine. And when they have that moment when Blaze sticks her foot out, because Bonnie's too afraid to stick her foot out there. But when Blaze sticks her foot out there and puts her hair under her nose and does the little weird voices, the bearded band, Bonnie immediately is like, oh, wait, hold on. You're like
yeah,
me. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. Because then it shows at the end, well, the two of them are playing and they're making their world. The other kids
right.
that were away were like, hey, I want to be a part of this too.
Yeah. No, I thought that was very good. And they did a good job of doing that, showing the arc and the different kids and having that depth that we haven't had before of like it's good to find your people and figure out where you belong and where you fit in and you don't have to talk to all of these people,
Right.
which was I think a lot of what the rest of kind of the franchise did for the toys and never for the people. Like we never once kind of saw Andy have to deal with anything other than him
Mm.
being like, I like this toy and this toy and this one.
Well, I think it was easier for Andy to do it because at the time that he was insulated. Like people the part of the other thing that the tech does is open you up to a bigger world. And so you start interacting with people that you necessarily wouldn't have interacted with before. And then you try to
Right.
be friends with those people, but aren't really your people. They're only the people because you can have some sort of communication with them. Whereas Andy was just in his room having his imagination. It was easy for him to do that. Same way with Bonnie sort of was doing that as well. And so when you start expanding the world, it does make you open to gain a lot more friends, but these people aren't truly your friends.
Yeah. Well, we also see like in his first one, and it's very weird because the movie doesn't talk about this, but you could probably take away from it too. Like we talk about like the death of the monoculture a lot and how these things are kind of like different now. In that first movie, when he gets Buzz Lightyear, everyone at his party is like, "Oh my
Oh my
god!"
God, that
And like
is amazing. Yeah.
you can tell that like everyone he knows is into this like one IP
Hmm.
property, and that doesn't seem to
To be the
exist
case. Yeah.
anymore. Like that,
Yeah.
like the same way it doesn't really exist now in the same way
Right.
that it used to, where
And
you
I,
could just kind of get the one it toy and have
right.
everyone blow up.
And I think the it toy is typically a pad. And to the point that they kept bringing up is like the one I will say the one harmful thing that does occur with when you give people lily pads all the time, or just that's the easy thing, is that you do lose their imagination a little bit because you're forcing them just by the proxy of all the things that tech can do for them to grow up a little bit faster than they would have. And so it's a small thing, but even when Jesse and the toys that were out in the garage come back in to see Blaze's room, they're like, this is so much more grown than it typically was. Like,
Yeah,
is she a teenager? And they're like, no, she's 9. But Jesse just says, like, well,
this is what
this is
you
what
guys
tech
do.
does. Like, this is, yeah, you guys just age them up just a little bit. And it's not, it can be a bad thing, but it also does make them grow up faster and removes that imagination and kind of gets rid of a lot of barriers that they would have had they done it the quote unquote
Right.
old school way.
Yeah. I did also one of the other touches that I really liked, and what it I guess you don't need more of it, but I liked it enough that I did want more, is when they figure out that they can just say Lily and the lily
When they
pad
catch
will
on,
react like
yeah,
Siri or Alexa. I
yeah.
just see it, it's like eyes twitch, like it
It's like,
doesn't like it's fighting
I
it.
gotta do it. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Any of the foils that they did, I really, as much as like Woody and Buzz's story was definitely weaker in it, I would have liked more of those like fun and games, like when they are like, we can unplug the charger, we can do this. You could have kept coming back to that with different like,
Yeah.
oh, we've got the lizard now, and it can touch your screen, and we can do that. I could have played in that world for another like 20 minutes before they really
Yeah.
like got off on the adventure, because then we are just sort of like she scans the QR code, all the buzzes take off, and then the buzzes are kind of gone. That was also like normally when we have these
Yeah.
groups, they kind of like some of it gets to come back. There was no
Did you
army of
do,
Buzz Lightyears in
did you,
there.
so there's a post-credit sequence
Okay.
that happens. After the credits with Taylor Swift, they all abscond upon a park. So all the Buzz ears fly in, hover over to a park. And so there's a bunch of kids who discover and kind of get a Buzz Lightyear, and they all become like, oh, I got a Buzz, and I got a Buzz. And so like they're all happy that they got a Buzz Lightyear and they're kind of excited, like, oh, I got a Buzz
Oh,
Lightyear toy.
great.
So it
Okay.
happens. But then there's one kid in the park who, in his bag, he opens up and he has the new age tech Zurg. It's like the digital
Awesome.
version of Zurg, and they're like, and they all go into red alert. Like, wait a minute.
Great.
So that's kind of the button that happens. So there is a payoff that, because to your point, I was sitting there like, this is a weird sort of. That's a
They're
lot of
just
characters
they're
you
just
just put in
out
the
in the
ether,
world.
right? Yeah.
These sentient like action figures. Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, I love these movies and I'll keep going. But for every now and then I'm like, how interesting that there are, especially now, like four played so much with like, oh, what is a toy? It's this thing that
Yeah.
we made out of trash. And even like Sid's toys that came to life. It's like, where are, at
Well,
what point does a toy die? Or are
right.
they
And well,
just
like even with
alive
Woody
forever?
and them, they've gone on to just be kind of like lost toys and be okay with that. And then kind of finding other lost toys to bring them into their fold to be like, hey, it's okay to be a lost toy. Sometimes the kids grow up and this is kind of where we are. It's going to be consistently harder and harder to get Woody back into the fold because like it's starting to make less sense for him to be around.
Yeah, I think this would be the last one unless you flipped it and he needs them. Or we
Right.
do
They
the
go out to
idea that I
them.
pitched during Toy Story 4, where Andy is all grown up and is in his like weird collecting
Like I'm
nostalgia.
getting all my old things
Yeah,
again. Yeah.
somebody's on eBay. That was another like sad, unnecessary moment when Lily Pad looked up Jesse and was like, "Oh, you're really old," and it was a
You
toy
are old
from
as
eBay,
hell.
and it had zero
Zero.
cents. And I just remember being like, "Well, that is
That's like
unnecessary."
you to do that.
At least $5.
Which has already been sort of a thing because you like if we remember from like two and three, it's like, oh, Jesse's only sort of valuable if she's with
With
Woody,
everybody.
which
Yeah.
sucks. That's terrible.
Yeah. I imagine that's how that whole set is. That is the
Yeah,
like,
like Woody's the only one that could go by himself. The rest of
yeah,
them, like Bullseye, Jesse, they all need Woody to be a
yeah.
set to work. And I was like, oh, that's for her to just call that
I
up real
would
quick is rough.
I would love for Pete to come back. I would love if they somehow did a six where like collecting,
Like a
because that
new,
is such a world now of like collectors and toy. We both have
yeah,
toys behind us right now. Like
yeah.
it would be kind of fun to have like a that would be a good way even to bring in Emily or bring in
Hmm.
somebody, an owner we haven't seen. That's how you get Andy and Emily to meet. And then you do that story. They're fighting over Jesse and
I
Andy.
have to like this is my only thing because I feel like year wise, Emily has to be old, like
Old, old,
almost in
old.
50s, late 50s,
Yeah.
close to 60s by that point. Because it seems like Jesse's first round of this was in like the 50s when this first
Yeah.
happened to her before we get to
Also,
whatever happens.
it's cute that she named her daughter Jessie. But could you imagine going to school and people being like, why did they name you Jessie? And you'd be like, my mom had this cowgirl toy. Have you
So
ever
it was a
seen
cowgirl
Woody's
toy
Roundup?
that was like, and then you had to go through the Woody of it all. Like, well, she didn't really have her own show. She was on this show with this guy.
Like it's very nice, but could you that would be like if you named your kid like Leonardo or something.
Yeah, you just have to go through this
Or
all the
something.
time.
Oh no, well, my name's T'Challa. Have you seen the Avengers? uh,
Yeah, yeah.
have
It's
to
a
do
very
this
cute
every
thing.
week.
Every time that I have to bring this up. Yeah.
Also, she named her kid Jesse. Not one of those horses in the stable is named Bullseye. What are we doing?
No.
Not one.
And it's a very cruel joke to name that pig Jimmy Dean. Like it's
That took how long did it take your theater to get that? Because my entire theater, it was like maybe 4 beats, and then everyone was just like,
it
"Oh."
took about 4 beats because like I caught it the second that it happened. I was like, oh, that's not right. And then Jesse said something, and I was like, see, it's
Yeah,
not.
I like that Jesse understands it. Jesse gets the Jimmy Dean joke. Oh my god. Yeah,
I
that
kept being
was
like,
a.
Blaze, don't get too attached to this pig. Please don't, because this is not
I
going to end well for you.
I was waiting for another joke with the pig. Like when you came into Blaze's room, I was waiting for her to be like, "Oh, you have to go soon." Like, you have to. Yeah, I was waiting for more. I don't know what I like that she had all the horses. I
I
enjoyed
did.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was so much to like in this
Because there's
movie.
something she was nerdy about, which was cool. I was like, oh, and like Jesse could just tell by the way that she looks like, no, this kid likes to play. Like, I know this kid. Like, I've
I know
seen
a
this.
freak when I see one, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Jesse just pinging it. It is also, you can definitely, I saw the article where like Tim Allen had to do like voice lessons for himself.
I was gonna say, there's
You can
all of
hear
them,
it.
all
You
of
can hear it in
them,
all of them. And I would
and it's
rather this than recast it, but I was you. It is
same.
like The Simpsons now, where you're just every now and then like, "Ooh, guys."
And it's not necessarily in the vocal intonation because I think the vocals they went back to clean up some of it just to kind of get them back to the ages. It's phrasing sometimes. You can tell the way they phrase things and their
Yeah,
breath control on some of these lines. Like, oh, you guys are older than you were when you're. I mean, they should be. It's 30 years, 30 years
yeah.
ago that
They've been
they
doing
were
this a
doing.
long
Yeah,
time. It would be
yeah,
weird if you couldn't, but it
yeah.
was. Yeah, it is very much like hearing Marge Simpson now, where you're just like, I don't. This is not. I don't
Yeah,
like
and
this as
it
much.
only I think I was more noticeable of it because I had just watched like Toy Story 2 like on the plane back and I'm like,
Yeah,
ah, yeah. Like 4 to 5 you can be like, all right, we're in the same like that's not that much of a difference, but if you're watching some of the older ones with this, you're like, oh, there's just an energy that you guys had then that you don't quite have now. understandably so, you're all in your 70s. So I get it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can just, yeah, it's age. It's aging.
Yeah.
Like it is
Yes.
just that weird.
Yeah. But I
Like,
also I also don't know a world where I would
no,
want them to switch them out.
nope.
I'm like either just don't put them on there or like move on. They had to, was it Ham? Ratzenberger, one of them, like
Yeah.
one that he passed away. So they
And I think Mr. Potato Head also.
yeah, they had to pluck audio from their past, but they also weren't in the film that much, so it didn't really mess up anything.
I
I did
think
also did think it was weird. I don't know if you noticed it, but having the crew that Toy Story 4 had, and then having Key and Peele's Bird and Ducky
just there.
there, but then not say anything. So we couldn't afford Key and Peele. I got it. All right, fair.
Could get them in there for a
Can you get it
day. They're
back
not
for a
human.
day?
They're not, you
Yeah,
know, like,
they could literally just call you on the phone and just say what the one word, like nothing. This seems
I
weird.
I do think that's becoming an interesting, not necessarily problem, but thing that
The
this
world
cast is now
is
so
so
big
big.
because
Yeah.
I really did want more Slink, Rex, Mr. Potato Head, the
The
army
crew, the old
sergeant,
school,
Bo
yeah,
Peep.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was, and I don't think you're ever going to get it right. I think each movie now is going to have, we're
The
like
cast is
three,
so big, and then you're going to always probably fold in about four or five new people that they're going to even go further to the back.
yeah,
Yeah,
because like three was the most notable of like where did Bo Peep go, and then we got her back in four, and then
yeah,
four was like what about these characters, and now here I'm like what about Rex and Slink, and it's
yeah,
and yeah, it's
yeah.
it becomes like a like Sonic the Hedgehog, where whoever the villain is kind of becomes a good guy at the end, and the next one has to be like Sonic, Silver, Shadow, Amy, everyone's on your team now, and it's like
Right.
at a certain point we have
Like
filled
this
out
good
this
team is
roster.
getting a rest. Like some of these characters need to be
But
pawned off.
it's some of the fun of the first two movies of Mr. Potato Head and Rex, and kind of the games that they did that you don't have as much. But
Yeah, you know,
I think that's why I liked having Woody and Buzz have those moments, because I was like, well, this is without
you're
this,
getting it here.
Jesse's stuff is so depressing half the time. It's
That's a
so
fair
good, but
point.
every
I think
other
that's a fair
scene is
point.
just like,
It's
oh
like,
my
Jesus,
god.
get this girl an Adderall, calm her down. What is happening?
When she like is pushing, I know I brought up already, but man, when she pushes Bullseye and then jumps out the window and has her whole like, I'm useless, I can't do this anymore, I don't want to play, and
Yeah.
it makes sense, but it is also that weird thing where I'm like, but this is, to be fair, the arc we've gone through 5 times now, and
Even
I
with
think
her, like
and
she's had this arc. Yeah.
and this is where 3 is such a good ending, because it is the moment where the toys accept that their kids will grow up and they
Hmm.
get to be passed on, and it is very Doctor Who of like this story is over,
Correct.
but the whole story never ends. This chapter closes and now something else. Um, but I could also see if Jesse's been doing this for that long, that she would eventually be like, I'm so fucking tired,
Yeah.
especially now that it's going to be a year with tech, and now I have to
Correct.
do this.
And what it feels like, the way that this has gone, the way that Jesse's responding in this film, it feels like Woody has accepted that. And Buzz to an extent, but Buzz just wants to be around Jesse. Woody has
Yeah,
accepted, like, hey, we're going to get passed on. It feels like Jesse's accepted that, but for her, she's like, I
but
got
is
passed on
tired.
to Bonnie, and so I'm here with Bonnie, and I am exhausted. I can't go through this again. I know this is probably my last hurrah because people seem to now be getting away from toys. So I just I'm done. Like and it's one of those ones where she's like, I don't know what to do. Like that's what it feels like. She feels helpless. Like I know I'm gonna get passed on. I would like to have some sort of onus on what happens next, but I don't. Like I my hands are tied. I don't know what the hell. And I got this damn tech thing coming and just mess up everything.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. It is funny because now you are in this place with this franchise where I'm like, I don't know where we go outside of it being like outside of being the positive version of 2, where 2 was like the collector and it's bad, and now it's
Hmm.
almost like that. Now almost seems like the haven. Like this movie,
Yeah.
almost the franchise almost has to end in like a night at the museum scenario where they all get put somewhere where they get to be, and then
They
at
get to
night they
be
all get to
like
come to
that. They can live their
life.
life. Yeah, and do their
Yeah,
thing.
and then
I
they get
agree.
people to like come through the museum.
Yeah, because like what's happening, I'm like now that especially they're splintered, you got the Bo Peep, Kaboom, Woody stuff over here, and then you got Buzz and this crew here. You kind of need to have a situation to your point where you bring these characters back together. There's some that are gone away to for that we don't see anymore. Put them all together in one room and kind of like you guys need to live off and go ahead and be toys for the rest of your life. I also think that if we do another one of these, Bonnie has to get aged up. Like she's been in
Oh yeah,
this age for too long. We need to move her up a bit to
yeah.
kind of see what the next scale of what toys and her age sort of do.
I also think like what do we say this with? Scary movie, I guess is what we say. There's another franchise that I feel like we're at Scream. Wait a while to see what the world of toys looks
They
like
do a
that you
really
can
good
pull
job
from.
because I was looking at the timing between all of these outside of the first two because that's when they're like money, let's do it.
Guys, we said we only have 11 ideas. That was a mistake. Make sequels.
But they've been cranking these out there's like an 9, 10 year gap between each of them, which I think is a serviceable enough point where they're kind of like, let's see what the world gives us. Now, they may not have that, and I won't knock on wood, but they may not have that with the entire cast 8, 9, 10 years from now. So that
Yeah,
might be why they might have to speed this up a bit. But they've done a really good job up to this point of being like, all right, let's take some time away, and then we'll revisit. So because it takes them about 3 to 4 years to film, to record and do all of these things. So I'd say they usually like a 5 year gap. We'll wait a bit and then see where things are, and then move on to start recording. But don't know if we can wait that long this time around
yeah. I
with
mean,
our cast.
I don't really want. I want more. I liked it. I liked four enough that I was like, that was a good time. I liked this one enough that if they tomorrow were like Toy Story 6 is coming in like 4 years, I'd be like, awesome.
Cool.
Like this,
Yeah.
like
I'd be like,
let's
cool,
go.
let's do it. But
Yeah,
I would also hope, and that like the way that they've sort of been establishing is saying that they're going to kind of give that first trilogy was an Andy trilogy. This one would be the Bonnie, like we would close it out with Bonnie. I'm like, cool, that works. And then I think you should have a close enough of an ending that would be Jesse and Buzz, if needed, could ride off into the sunset without having to use them. You could use some of the other ones if you needed to, but like those guys are gone. That way you don't beholden yourself that if in 10 to 15 years you want to like, all right, let's go do another Toy Story. Those characters, even if you want to bring them back, maybe in smaller roles and don't have to be the same voices. Like I think you can allow them to sort of ride off into the sunset without having to change anything for this next one.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Because there's
box
still.
office wise, they're going to do one.
I mean, yeah, that's the last thing I think we
Jesus.
really talk about. We've made just so much money. The
Yeah.
best opening for the franchise at what 160 was the last thing I think I saw,
Yeah. 160 US,
and
three.
like 312 globally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Pixar's second best opening, I think,
It's
behind
funny,
Inside Out 2 or Incredibles.
yeah, all of their prognostications were much lower on this. But I think the thing that they keep failing to sort of remember about Toy Story, and it helps with the 8 to 9 to 10 year gaps that they have in between all these. There's three different generations that are attached to Toy Story now. And so you got my age, the age right under that, and now the younger age that are all sort of attached to Toy Story. And like this is one of those things that like, nope, we're gonna bring them in. We may not be telling you we're gonna, but we're going to see Toy Story. And yeah, I this is going to be an interesting this summer movie wise. Is box office is just doing quite
Very
heartily,
well.
quite well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. It continues. It continues to be good. It should probably keep up with the next few weeks with Supergirl and Spider-Man
and then Minions. Yeah,
and
I
Minions.
think
Yeah, we're
I think that's the
and
weird
Evil Dead.
thing is that family window because usually these kids movies kind of go on for a while. But Minions is July 1st. And so Toy Story doesn't have like the 3 week window that it normally would get. It's kind of like back to back, and then Moana comes back in after that. So it's kind of like I'm curious to see how these family ones do, considering they're on top of each other way more than they normally are in this time frame.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I believe that is our show. We will see everybody next time. You can, of course, like and subscribe and follow the YouTube channel. Hollywood Already Did It, where Terrence has our TV reviews and trailer reactions, and Hollywood ADI on Twitter, TikTok, and everywhere else. I'm at, as always, Blake. Terrence is at Terrence Tatum, and we will see everybody next time.
Later.